This gonna say threw me completely off by the corner of my eye. Good evening, and welcome to Conversations with Entrepreneurs. And if you normally watch us on a weekly basis, you know we tend to cut up just a little bit. So we have a special guest tonight. Ken is with us, but I'm gonna go ahead and let the panel of entrepreneurs say good evening. We'll start with you, Julie.
Evening, everybody. This is Julie Logan, owner of Popcorn Heaven Stew Creek and J. Logan Business Support Services. Good to see everybody.
Chanel.
Hello, good evening. Chanel Varner here, founder and CEO of Moonblade Travel.
Dion.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dion Jones, and I am the friend of Julie Logan and Chanel Varner, who was just debuted on Good Morning. No, it was Charlotte. It was in Charlotte, but it was great. It was a great interview, for real, for real.
He didn't write it down, Chanel. He didn't write it down. Jeff.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff White with the Yes We Did Virtual Learning Center, and happy to be here as always.
And Ken Wiggins is our special guest. So again, Ken, say hello to everyone and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me this evening. I am Ken Wiggins. I am the founder and CEO of Rhema Word Productions. We are a theater, digital media production company. We produce documentaries, web series, Facebook talk shows. We like to consider the stories that we tell real, relevant, and relatable. We like to look at stories that other people just aren't telling, or tell it from a different point of view with a little twist on it, giving you a little bit of inspiration, but a whole lot of life.
That's awesome. I am happy to have you on the show, more so because this is the first time we've had someone on the show in my industry, which is the production industry. So I'm looking forward to the conversations as they go. Do you currently have a project you're working on, or do you have a project that's released right now?
We have a few projects that we're working on. We are currently casting for our Christmas special. We'll be doing a 59-minute Christmas special that will debut in December. We have a bi-monthly Facebook show that we produce. Premieres on the second and fourth Sundays at 7 p.m. on Facebook, on our Facebook page. You can also catch episodes on our YouTube page as well. That is called You Can't Make This Up. You Can't Make This Up is just stories about people, entrepreneurs, athletes, teachers that just went through situations that just seem totally out of the ordinary, that makes you say, you know what, you just can't make this up. And actually, one of your panel, Julie Logan, she was the season premiere for our show. We talked about, Julie's story from dealing with breast cancer, caring for her mother, and launching businesses while managing, her job at Wells Fargo and all of that. It was a wonderful story. Got a lot of good feedback from that. We're also filming a documentary. That is another documentary. We released one in March and it aired on television in June. We're filming another documentary that is on organ donation. I am the recipient. I am a triple organ recipient. I've had 2 liver transplants and a kidney transplant. And organ donation is something that is taboo in the African-American community. We feel like I was born with all my organs. I want to die with all my organs. Well, we want to tell a story that is going to help people understand the importance of organ donation. We have representatives from Duke University that will be interviewed in our documentary, representatives from Donate Life North Carolina and Atrium Health, as well as myself and some other people. So we're really excited about everything that we have underway right now.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Jeff, I'm gonna let you start.
My question, first off, I love the concept, and having Julie on as your season premiere was fantastic because her story is amazing.
Absolutely.
I know her story, but Julie is a true inspiration to all of us. She's very smart, very driven, very focused. So having her on your show is a win for you, definitely. So, just want to give Julie a shout and just show her how much we entrepreneurs on this show love and respect her. But I just want to ask you, what got you started? What inspired you to do something like this? Because there's nothing out there really like this. So what made you do it, and what gave you the guts to even try it? Because this sounds like a pretty risky venture, with nothing out there really to guide you, to lead you.
Risky and nothing out there is absolutely what we faced when we decided to launch this company. My background is in theater. I'm a theater geek. My mom would take us to New York each year to look at the premiere of Broadway. My mom was a playwright, and I kind of inherited her gift. I became a playwright, and I've been writing and producing plays, writing the songs for the plays for about 20 years. Wrote my first play in second grade, and my teacher liked it so much, I won an award. She allowed our second grade class to present it to the parents as our year-end celebration. So I've been producing plays and everything for that time of period. I was the worship arts ministry at one of the churches here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And in that, I really got to take my playwriting to another level. That's where I got to do kind of big stage productions, where I could bring in, all the nice lights, all the big sets, all the music, had background singers, all of the stuff that I envisioned and really wanted to do. I finally had the financial backing to do that. Fast forward now, pandemic, theaters are shut down. No one's able to gather or congregate in an area where we could do stage plays. And one of my writing partners and business partners, she lost her son in last July in the middle of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And everything that she dealt with, we saw a story in it. She will tell you that she was driving right out the week after the funeral, and she was driving and she just lost where she was going. And another one of our business partners, because all of us work together in the drama ministry at our church, she called her to check on her, and she was like, "Pat, where are you?" And she said, I don't know where I am. And so she said, "Stop where you are," called her, calmed her down, and she just began to unload to Tracy about what she had went through with planning the funeral and all of the stories that she dealt with. And they said, we need to call Ken. We feel like this needs to be a play or something like that. And so when they called me, I didn't hear play. I heard documentary. And we set up a meeting with our other partner, because it's 4 of us. I did the writing and producing. My writing partner, Patricia, she also wrote and helped me direct. Then we have Tracy, who did all of our set designs. And we have Janet, who did all of our costume designs. So the 4 of us, we planned a Zoom call. And they said, "Well, Ken, we know you already have a production company," because I wrote maintain ownership of all of my plays under Raymond Work Productions. And so we just kind of built it out and said, this is what we want to do. We want to do a digital media company. We want to tackle everything that we would do in the play. We want to tackle it digitally. So under our umbrella, we will be launching a podcast. We have our different television shows and everything. And we also have our documentaries that we have produced.
Awesome. And so have you guys released her story yet, or you're still working on it?
Yes, that was the one that we released in March and aired on local television in June.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Let's start, Chanel.
And it's a pleasure to have you on. Just hearing what you are doing so far is really inspiring to me. So as Jeff said, just kudos. And of course, Julie's awesome. I had to piggyback on that one. So that's a good one to have. A couple of things come to mind. I think it's great what you guys are doing to tell these untold stories, to really educate and inspire and encourage your audiences. So that's brilliant. And it sounds like you guys are tapping into some of those uncomfortable topics that we usually don't want to talk about, like, grief and mental illness and, all types of things that are kind of like the unspoken. So again,
Right.
thank you for the courage to take on those tasks. Two things came to mind. You mentioned funding. So I wanted to see if you have had funding challenges. We always talk about the challenges that Black business owners, specifically women, but men as well, have with accessing to capital and funding. So this sounds like it may have been some funding that was needed to get this off the ground. So that's my first question. And secondly, I like how you said about you tapped into your mom's gift. That's your gift too. That's your talent. And we always talk about, how we're passionate about what we do. It's because that we have that talent. It's in us. We already have what we need to be everything we need to be. So kudos to you for tapping into that as well. But those were two things that came to mind as far as funding challenges. And then also who was along the ride? Who was that person that was motivating and encouraging you as you jumped into these unknown territories?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Funding. Funding is always a challenge, and I don't know what industry or what business that you can operate where funding is not going to be a challenge. And being a new business and kind of feeling our way through the process, we did a lot of self-funding. We received some angel investors as well that bought into our vision. We shared what we wanted to do, told the stories that we wanted to tell, and so we got some angel investors as well. We're still in the process of applying for some additional grants and loans, whatnot, so that we can expand the business. Our team grew from 4 people. We just celebrated our 1-year anniversary in July. Ironically, I founded the company, and the company's birthday is the week after my birthday. So July is a very important month for us. Ironically, when deciding on this, we received a lot of money just from people that have worked with us in the past. Julie has been one of my actresses in several of my plays, and people that were our cast members or whatnot, they've been asking us to do plays again, telling us we miss the stage plays, we miss getting together, we miss this. And so when we explained what we were doing, they opened their pocketbooks up and they became partners with us. And so we give them a little bit of profit sharing within our company as well. And they're silent owners, but they have an ownership stake in our company as well. Tapping into my mother's gift, my mother believed in having well-rounded children. She exposed us to everything, sports. My sister was a prima ballerina in her company. All of us can draw because my mother could draw. So we come from an artistic family. Well, all of us can draw except for one of my brothers. And he always was angry. Why everybody can draw but me? But me. So we all, but he's the dancer. All of us have some type of artistic skills that we inherited from my mom and my mom's family. Before my mom passed, she was able to see one of my stage plays get produced. And she said, it's probably the thing that motivates me today to continue and striving for new goals and everything. It was, I wrote plays, but you took what I did further. And I want to take what my mother did to the highest level that I can. We started off in churches. I still have the goal of producing a Broadway play. That is still a goal of mine. But right now, we're focused on building a film production company. And we're making some really, really great strides with that. I got news of a project. I was trying to get a location for filming something that we're doing. And the location that we're trying to get is one of those places here in Charlotte that they always say no to everyone. Well, I worked my network and they said they really like what we're doing. And they're opening their campus to us. And I'm really, really excited about that. And so I'm just trying to, just continue to build. I have a great support system in my staff.
That's good.
My staff, they've been with me through probably all of the biggest obstacles in my life. Again, 2 liver transplants, a kidney transplant. And so they told me that if I could get through a transplant, building this company was small potatoes. And they they support me in everything. Yeah, we argue. You know, family argues, but we overcome that because everything we do, we know that we have a greater purpose. We know that there are stories out there that need to be told, and we're honored to have the task and the obligation and the fortitude to tell those stories.
That's awesome. I love the idea of that. Dion?
Thank you so much, Brother Ken, for coming to be on the show and stuff. And your story is, you can't make this up, brother. And you know, I guess it takes one to know one. You know what I mean? So I would like to just ask you, you know, when you were going through your transplants, at what stage was your company then, or how much inspiration is that behind completing the work and even taking what your mom did to the next level and things of that nature? How long did it take, and all that kind of stuff?
My company wasn't birthed per se when I was going through my transplants. It was basically the name that I used to copyright all of the plays and the songs and stuff that I wrote. As far as the inspiration and everything, it really comes from, okay, my middle name is Rama, R-A-M-A, the first part of our company's name. But everyone pronounces it incorrect. They say Rama, Ken Rama Wiggins, and it's not. It's Ramah, and it's a Hebrew city in the Bible.
That's because
But because people take it incorrect and pronounce it incorrectly, I made it a play on the word Rhema, R-H-E-M-A, which is God's word in action. Because we tell stories that are real, relevant, and relatable with an inspirational twist to it, I said that the stories that we tell are God-breathed, God-inspired, and so they're God's word in action, be it a play, a documentary, a Facebook show, or what have you. So everything that is presented to us as an idea that we should do, we make sure that it aligns with those 3 things. Is it real? Is it relatable? And is it relevant to the people that we want to tell our stories to? So that's what we build our inspiration off of.
I really appreciated your thought in the beginning about some inspiration, but a lot of real life. There is such a misconception about inspiration, the category inspiration.
Right.
Such a misconception,
right.
And it comes off completely opposite. So thank you very much, brother. That's all I got right now.
Thank you.
I enjoy the idea of what you're doing right now, even more so that you have a circle of people that are working with you. I am growing to that point, not yet. It is still me, myself, and I, and we tend to get along for the most part. But there are some conflicts, but the listening to how you grew and what made you grow is very inspiring. And for the majority of us in production or independent filmmaking, you know, we understand and we can relate. But I think what this pandemic did that it didn't intend to do, it gave us the opportunity to pivot. And we've learned now there are resources out there that we can actually get our product out there without having to bend and commit to terms that we're really not comfortable with for the most part.
Absolutely.
And that there are some silver linings in this time of confinement that I'm seeing. And at the end of the day, I say it every now and again, Julie, Bishop says, after this time of confinement, how are you going to come out of it? And we see now how you went through it and how you're coming out of it. So there's some amazing steps. So we can't wait to see more about your productions and share them as well. to get you a new fan base.
Thank you.
Can. So definitely want to do
Thank
that.
you.
Jeff, I know you got to drop soon. Do you have any last words?
I don't have a last word. I have a question though.
Okay.
What can you tell the viewing audience some of your trials and tribulations? Because every person who started some type of business, they've gone through something. And what I like to do personally is I like to hear, because we all see the good and everyone's smiling and happy, which is great. But we also need to see the backstory and the things that people don't see, because we all go through something. And so if a person's going through some trials and tribulations, they need to understand that, hey, I'm not alone, that other people have gone through this and they have persevered. So can you tell us something you went through with your business that made you maybe even question what you were doing, but you stuck through it and was able to overcome? Anything that happened to you like that?
We've had a few of those. I think the first lesson that we learned is when you watch a documentary, everyone has an idea of how it was created. You know, we know that I'm a writer, so I write scripts. So I said, okay, I wrote the script to what I wanted to tell. I wrote everything that the narrator was supposed to say. I picked out, did all of my location scouting, worked with Patricia, picked out who we wanted to interview. When we did our pre-production calls with everyone, we set it up very, very nice because our mindset was still theater. You know, I'm telling a story. I'm putting on a production. This is what the people need to see. This is the aha moment that people need to have at the end of the documentary when the credits roll. Filming the documentary, because we're telling stories that are people's stories, I can't script what they're going to say. And what they said had nothing to do with the script that I wrote. And I shot myself in the foot because I did not research how to film a documentary until after the documentary, after we had all of this footage and we were trying to fit it into the script that I wrote. And so when we fit it into the script that I wrote, we have 5 minutes of a story. So we had to go back and say, okay, well, what is it? How do you really tell the story of a documentary? And when you're telling the story of a documentary, what you do is you come up with your idea, your main idea. We want to talk about grief in the time of a pandemic. And you interview a bunch of people that have dealt with grief. You interview a bunch of people that have helped people deal with grief. You interview a bunch of people that tell all of the different types of stories that you want to include in that documentary. And then in your editing process, you look back at the footage and you find that common story that is told between them. And then you write your script off of that and edit it that way. So I wasted about a few $1,000, you know, a few, you know, on filming and editing time that we had to go back and say, okay, let's take all the footage and refix our story according to the story and how everything is weaved together so that we have a conclusive story that people will understand and it will be accepted and relatable for people. That was the biggest part.
Well, see, I like that because you thought it was going to be one way, but it wasn't, and it cost you a lot of time and a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people would go through something like that and they'd be ready to quit, or they'd be focused on all the money that they spent or quote unquote lost. But sometimes learning experiences can be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go through that learning experience to take it to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends how you look at it. So from outside looking in, I think that was a great learning experience, and that's a mistake that you won't make again. But you had to go through it
right
to understand. So I like that. So that was a great great lesson learned. and something everyone can listen to and pay attention to. Because you could do something that costs you a lot of money, but it's okay.
Right.
If you learn from it and you can persevere and overcome, then you're going to be all right.
Right.
Yeah.
Jeff, those learning experiences for the entrepreneur, that's business college.
That's business college, yes.
Right.
Yep.
Workplace learning.
On the job training. And especially I'm an intellectual person. I went to business school. And so I've coached small businesses on how to open their business and this, that, and the other. So I kind of had a superiority complex coming into this because I know how to do this. I've told other people how to do this. So surely I understand finance and I understand the building of a business plan. I understand this. I've critiqued other people's, and then I'm doing it for myself. And I realized, oh, I need a kin, someone to coach me on how to do this. And so that was again one of those nice learning experiences that you had. I had to find me a kin to help me with this. And my business partner Tracy, she's also an entrepreneur. All of us on my team, we own multiple businesses. So Rainbow Word Productions is the company that we own together, that we do our documentaries and everything together. But each of us, we own other businesses outside of that. I own a fashion styling company. Tracy, she's a children's book author, and she does art. Janet, she owns a fashion house, so she does creates clothing. She also, all of the Santa Clauses that you see in the United States are created by our partner Janet. The Macy's Christmas Day Santa Claus, she creates his outfit each year. And our partner Patricia, she owns a ministry called Bring the Word Ministry. So all of us own different businesses together, but a film company, production company, digital media company is a different beast, and none of us had the expertise, no matter what we thought we knew, from opening and managing our other businesses.
Well, I'm glad you pointed out that part about feeling what you knew professionally that you did help you transition into film, because I made that mistake. I'm like, I'm a project manager. I can handle this. I've managed millions of other people's dollars. I can manage this. And then I got around people that's been in the industry and it's like, oh, I don't even know what word they're using or how I'm gonna manage that. So it was a transition, it's still a transition. But now I'm admitting, look, I am so new at this, you guys, but I have a vision. And I've been fortunate that people believe in the visions that I have for the different projects. And still give me the opportunity to learn from them while I grow and get the projects running.
Right.
But yeah, you went along with that one. Huh? It's like, I'm a project manager. I can manage things, but no.
Exactly,
So yeah, definitely thank you for bringing that one up. Julie?
Absolutely.
Well, I had a couple of things that kind of came to mind, Ken, as you were talking. We talk about a lot on this show as entrepreneurs, how our community, specifically the Black African American community, can, as entrepreneurs, can work together even more so to help each other grow and scale our businesses. I'm assuming it's the same way in your industry as well, production, theater, film, the whole nine. You got 2 production companies on this call right now. So my question is that we talk about all the time, how are you able, or can you, or do you foresee the possibility of partnering sometimes with others in your industry to the point where it doesn't feel like it's a competition or it's a challenge? Because I always say, what's for me, it's for me. Somebody else there's obviously other popcorn industries or stores here in Charlotte, right? I get it. But their popcorn don't taste like mine. Right. So what's for me is for me. So how in your industry are you, or have you been able to partner with other production companies to kind of help each other grow and scale your businesses? Does that make sense?
That's a very interesting question.
I think of it, take it from a macro point of view first. When we look at television, we have hundreds of networks. And each of the networks have similar shows. They have their reality shows, they have their drama series, they have their game shows, they have their newses. But each of them tell their stories from a different point of view. That's the way that I look at it, even if I wanted to partner with Alethea on a project. Alethea may be telling this story. I may be telling this story from a different point of view, but we can tell the same story, reaching the same audience and giving them totally different information while it's under the same topic. She's telling it from this point of view, how to be an entrepreneur, skills and topics that entrepreneurs need to learn or consider when they're opening a business. Let's say I wanted to talk to entrepreneurs, and I tell it from the point of view of what was your mindset when you said, I can be an entrepreneur? Same story, same information, different point of view, but relevant information for both parties. So I think the thing is to find out what your niche is. Stay true to your niche and don't try to get into everyone else's niche. I think sometimes when we as entrepreneurs have ideas or we think of expansion plans or what have you, we say, oh, I can do this, that, and the other. Well, perfect your craft within your niche. And if you have a partner or you know someone and you networked with someone that has a story in that, and you say, oh, Alethea, I know an entrepreneur that you may want to partner with, and then invite them on your podcast and tell this person they have a wonderful story. I worked with them. They'll be a great contact with you. Share that information because you're helping someone else. You're first helping that entrepreneur reach other goals, reach other partners, potential customers, potential patrons. You're providing Alethea with information that can help her grow her audience, highlight other entrepreneurs that need the exposure. And I'm also building a connection so that I've helped Alethea, I've helped this entrepreneur, they're going to help me in some form, whether it's a skill that I don't know. Alethea, have you ever did this? Alethea, tell me, how did you launch your podcast? Did you, how did you negotiate with Apple and Spotify to get your podcast listed on here? What types of rates did you negotiate? That type of thing. Well, can you help me with that? Don't consider it a competition. Consider it a partnership, an extension of your team, an extension of your partner. We don't have to, there are millions of viewers on the internet. And all we want to get is 1% of that million of viewers. That 1% is going to cover our entire operating budget for a year. Just that 1%. So if I can help Alethea get her 1%, she helped me get my 1%, then we have 2% of the market and we are both growing and maturing within our businesses.
Yes.
I love that. Love that. I also wanted to share with this audience as well too. Ken is going to be able to share his story about his transplant story with the Donate Life North Carolina 2021 Gospel Fest that is going to be held November the 14th. It's all virtual, but being able to share his story, and he's truly a miracle. He's truly God's child. God looked after him. He had something else for Ken to do, which is why he's here to be able to, talk about Rhema Productions and as well as his story. So pencil that in, November 14th for the Donate Life North Carolina Gospel Fest, where you'll be able to hear Ken's story a little bit more in depth.
So Ken, definitely give me the promos for that because I would like to share them on those platforms. And Julie, thank you very much for that, because now I would like ask Ken to be an 8th participant in the Real Talk with Entrepreneurs so he can just get his whole story out there.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I will email you after the show and give you information on that and see if you'd be willing to participate. And we definitely would like to, again, promote what you have coming up in November, but definitely discuss being on the Real Talk with Entrepreneurs.
And here's another shameless plug. Dion has played my husband in the stage play. So we're very familiar with each other as husband and wife in stage play.
You know, I wrote a play for Julie.
Lord.
You wrote her infidelity and her adulterous moments on stage. I got you, brother Ken.
No, that one I didn't. But I wrote a story for Julie because, well, I met Julie through a mutual friend. We would have Sunday dinner at his house each Sunday. And I knew Julie from the praise team. And I was writing a script and I was writing the song that the lead character was going to sing. And when my music writing partner, and I was writing the song, I heard Julie's voice. So I said, I'm going to ask her to audition. And I asked Julie, I said, Julie, have you ever considered acting? And she was like, well, no. I said, I was like, well, Julie, I think I have a part for you and I want you to audition. And she's like, well, okay. If I can fit it in my schedule, I will. You know, I have a lot of business travel. I said,
I know she said her schedule, Ken. I know it. I know she did.
I said, I will fit it to your schedule. I need you in this part. And when Julie auditioned, obviously she got the part because I wrote it with her in mind anyway. And she brought that character to life so well, to the point that when you forget how nice and calm, collected, and reserved Julie is, and the character that I wrote her, everyone hated. And our pastor at the time, he came up for remarks at the end and he said, didn't you hate that Julie Logan? She did so amazing in that role that even to this day, we were at a party this weekend. The guy that played her husband, he said, that's my wife. Everyone remembers hating Julie on that play. So Julie has been a phenomenal person. She's worked with me. She supported me. From that moment forward, we have had a 10-year friendship. She has been with me through my transplants, prayed with me, cried with me, supported me in everything. I absolutely love Julie.
Hey, Julie, it's the same for now. Julie asked me, she says, well, why did you pick me for the film production I had started back 2018? And I told Julie from the day that I met her, it was her spirit. Mm-hmm. It was her spirit. Yeah. And I think we all agree to that. Although Jeff is not here, Julie, to put the little amen comment on, so get it all up, because as soon as he watch the show, he gonna be what?
Well, no, this is thank you both for all of that. Is truly, this show is not about me, it's about you, Ken, in the film industry. But thank you for the words. But I just put that plug in there because Dion does play my husband in Mama's Girls. Hence, I wouldn't be in Mama's Girls had it not been for Ken and all the good stuff. And I just love the collaboration and hopefully the connection that Olivia and Ken can just, I can just see it in my head how both of you just going to take this industry to a new level with what you both are doing.
I receive that in Jesus' name.
Amen.
I receive it.
Chanel, before we go into the last words.
I am loving it. I really am loving all of this. A couple notes a couple just things that stood out to me was, Ken, you talked about your purpose and your vision. And I think we all we talked about passion, but leading with that, like staying true to why we are doing what we're doing. I love that. Another thing that you mentioned about having a team or a support system of like-minded people. I think that's critical, but not just that. Access, we talked about social capital. Is it social capital? Social capital. When we're talking about it, it's who's in your network. Who do you have access to? But to be able to say, hey, look, I have this idea and you have access. to people who can fall in line or fall in place or even make connections to other people to make your vision and dream come to life, I think is phenomenal. And you have shown that that's a true example. And it's also been fruitful in your entrepreneurship journeys. I think that's awesome. Even the connection that you and Julie have, and now that you've made with Alethea, and now Alethea to Dion, it's just, I'm loving it. So social capital sprinkled all over it. But one thing what keeps you going, especially after starting a business in the pandemic, going through the pandemic, hearing the stories that you're hearing and writing about the motivation and inspiration that you're doing, what drives you other than your passion, your vision, your talent? What is it?
Stories. I'm a storyteller no matter what. And in my spare time, I consider myself an introvert. But once you get me to talking, I will share a story with you about anything. So I am a true storyteller, and finding ways to tell different stories, people's stories, forgotten stories, stories that people are afraid to tell. I'm also a critic. So when I look at other people's, works or whatnot, I say they should not have done that. They should have did it this way. I can build a story off of that. Let me tell the story the way that it should have been told. So that type of thing is what helps me. I don't think that I can watch television or anything without having some type of critique. And so that is one of the things that definitely keeps me going, is being able to tell more stories to more people, other people's stories, in different ways. I love storytelling.
Ken, I wanted to put a plug in for Chanel too. She's here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So because
okay. So let me write you down.
Travel guru. I'm sure when you're looking for locations for film, Miss Vanna could probably offer some assistance there.
We do, because we are always scouting locations. And we have not hired a location scout on the team as of yet. So we will definitely pass your name over to our operations person to connect with you.
Cool.
Julie, Ken, thank you. Wherever I can help. I love what you guys are doing.
I love Black people.
Let me keep going. So Dion is more of our, because he's down there for me.
Yeah.
From a mental health perspective, and I know you talked about your documentaries around grief and all of that good stuff. Dion has a story within himself, but just some of the different topics from a mental health perspective would be a good tool and resource. We're all about sharing here.
Thank you, Dion. We are always, because it's one thing to tell the story, but we also want to give people tools on how to deal with things as well. So we had a grief counselor that helped us out with our documentary, and we always want to make sure that we're giving people mental fitness, because in this pandemic, we have lost a lot of mental fitness. Being disconnected, isolated from people, caused a lot of us to gain weight because we were emotionally eating, and you were bored. So we want to make sure we tried to make sure we give people mental fitness, physical fitness, spiritual fitness, professional fitness, helping you have a holistic life by the stories that we tell.
Yeah.
Brother Ken, that is awesome. I did not know how it was going to happen, but we have circled back to mental fitness. I love the way you said that. We have gotten back to that on consecutive shows. It has been a running topic. We have all recognized it, especially since the pandemic. So it's amazing that we even got to it, even in this episode of the show, because it's just very true. It's very true.
Absolutely.
It really is. It's definitely something that I probably need to focus on at some point in the documentary aspect of it. Because
that would actually be a great story to tell.
Go back in the pandemic, it's everywhere, in every family, almost in, in every town. We see it on the news constantly. And we know that the African-American community is impacted by it the most. And that confinement, people did not come out of this confinement well. We're not even going to talk about the mask issues,
Right.
vaccinations, but the hesitancy could be the fright of it, because then you hear about the side effects and different things, and that could be causing mental stress on people feeling like, I know I should get it, but
Right.
even being able to find those people and get them to talk themselves out of the fear that they're having, because again, that's just that mental block.
Yeah, even as current as Simone Biles talking about what she had to deal with, right? Tug of war. Is it about self or is it about my team? So she had to take care of herself, and I, commend her for doing that. So something as phenomenal of her as a gymnast, taking a step back. Wait a minute, something's not right for a second.
And what's her name? Osaka, the tennis player, she did it too. She did it too.
Well, we as Black people, we grew up saying that we don't seek help. We go to Jesus, and yes, we absolutely go to Jesus, but Jesus can work through your psychotherapist as well.
Exactly.
I see a therapist once a month, because I know that I have a hard time dealing with grief, amidst my struggles with my health struggles. I lost my mother, I lost my dad, I lost my older brother. And when I lost my older brother, I went into depression because I had just had my transplant and my brother had just come to visit me the week before he passed. And I was leaving dialysis and my sister called and said, Tim fell. And my brother, he owned a construction company. And so he had fallen while I was in high school off of Westgate Mall. He was building Westgate Mall in my hometown. And he fell and he tore his eye, had to have plastic surgery and everything. So when she said he fell, that's what I envisioned had happened again. Well, my brother, he was drilling concrete and he had a massive heart attack and could not be resuscitated. And I went through depression because I felt like I'm the sickly one. Tim, he's the strong one. I should have died. Tim should have lived. And taking on that, I realized that I needed to have some talk therapy and talk through that. And so because of that, and just how I deal with grief, I'm a Cancer, so I'm an emotional person. I take things to heart. I deal with it. I hold it in. I'm not the pinchy Cancer, the one to snap at. Well, I'm not always the pinchy Cancer.
That's only in the plays with Julie, Ken.
But I realized I needed talk therapy. And so, I see a therapist, and I think that everyone should, have a mental checkup every now and again. Talk to someone. You get your annual physicals. You go to the dentist to have your teeth checked out. Have your emotions and mind checked out as well. Have a mental checkup with a therapist.
And another show we're going to put on the list. We're going to coordinate that one. Grief and the pandemic, how do we cope? And Dion, I want you to lead it.
That's a great show.
Absolutely. Even Julie, the stuff relative to the Olympic athletes, I think that would be great because that's the biggest stage in the world. And they decided to go, no, I'm not ready. I'm not going to. I feel and think a certain way, and I'm going to address it. Yes, I think it's a great show, fam.
Absolutely.
Because it's there. I mean, everyone has their own version of it. Some people, I'm just going to sip a little wine and just help myself chill. And wine turns into liquor. And they think they're coping, but they're just hiding behind, those little different things. Other ones too, little chocolate bar here and chocolate bar there and a bag of caramel popcorn from popcorn heaven and Some Carolina kettle from Papa. See, look, she even got little worm things.
Those worms, the bomb now.
Everybody has their different ways of coping, and I think bringing that conversation out again, especially now, the fear of going into another semi-lockdown may be throwing people into a tizzy. So I definitely think we should bring that conversation out again. So Ken, since you are our guest tonight, we're going to let you give last words. Last words, generally, would you like for people to just kind of a take back of how you felt about tonight and what you hope people get from hearing you on the show tonight?
Well, I thank each of you for thinking it not robbery, put my church voice on, for thinking it not robbery to invite me onto your podcast this evening to talk about Rhema Word Productions, talk about the things that we're doing, talk a little bit about myself. I really am an introvert, so talking about myself is one of the things that I absolutely hate the most. But I also realize that to grow your company, people need to be aware of what you're doing. They need to understand why you do what you do so they can also have a connection with it as well. So I appreciate you for telling the stories of entrepreneurs, different ways that they have entered the market or different challenges that they've told. I think that you're doing a phenomenal work with this podcast. I support it and I'm thankful for the opportunity. To our listening audience, I invite you to follow us on all of our social media pages. It's Rhema Word Productions on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can catch all of our previous episodes of everything that we have produced thus far on each of those. Visit us on our website, rhemaword.com. If you would like to get involved with anything that we're doing, you can send us an email through our contact page on rhemaword.com. If you have a story that you think should be told, email me, Ken, K-E-N-N, I'm 2N Ken, on all social medias as well.
2N Ken.
2N Ken, that's my moniker on all social media. But yes, email me at Ken, K-E-N-N @rhemaword.com. I would love to interact with you, hear your stories, and see how we can partner together in promoting you, telling your story, and promoting whatever you're doing. So I thank you again, each of you, for your time. Alethea, Chanel, Julie, Dion, Jeff in his absence. I appreciate all of you. I thank you for your time. I thank you for the jokes, the laughs, and the realness of this podcast as well. You know, this podcast, it will line up with our mission, being real, relatable, and relevant. Tonight's episode was each of those three things, and I thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of it.
Well, we welcome you to the family.
Thank you.
Dion.
Well, I'm 1N Dion, and listen, Ken, it's, you know, we are very blessed on this podcast. The people we have met, and you talked about finding your niche. I pride myself on being very unique, and sir, you are a breath of fresh air in lots of ways. Thank you. You're so smart, you're so articulate, so informed, and you know, I absolutely, totally agree with you. I do a lot of the mental health. That's kind of my avenue. You know, we believe in a lot of Jesus. You know, but Jesus is prophesied to be a counselor when he's coming.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we definitely need the counsel, COUNSEL, and the counsel, COUNCIL. That's what this is.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a tough year for a lot of us in a lot of different ways. And coming to this group, Ken, has been some of that stuff you were just talking about. It's been relief for me. It's been information for me. It's always educable and stuff like that. And just so thankful. Thank you, brother, for sharing your time with us. And I just got one last thing. I submitted a PPP loan for my acting, and I didn't get it. I don't know who got theirs. But, Brother Ken, you look taller than me. You look very well groomed. I would like for somebody to advocate on my behalf. I'm gonna cut this off because I might start cussing or something. I don't need to do that.
Well, I can't speak to that because that's my professional job, my 9 to 5. So I have to kind of remove myself from that. Those comments, and I'm just going to say, wow, okay, interesting.
Again, another episode of Keeping It Real and Representing. That's around, that will be a podcast next week if I say it again, right? Chanel?
Well, I'm 2L Chanel. Okay, I have stolen that for life. Okay, so thank you for that. I do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here. It's always great for us to come together, but when we have a guest like you that's energized and charged and passionate about what they're doing and successful about it and can share these types of stories, and even about the stories that you're creating for others, I think it's just dynamic. So thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to have you and be in your presence. But one thing that I would just leave folks with is leading your passion and surround yourself with like-minded people who are going to encourage and uplift you and be there when you don't succeed. Entrepreneurship journey, there is lots of turns down failure lane, and to have people behind you and right beside you to pick you up and keep you going, I think is just powerful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Q, did I tap on you? Because I got lost with Dion with the PPP thing. He just totally took me right out of my book. Did you get your last words in yet? Because I got PPP in my head now.
I know, right? Me too.
I know Dion will go off script. If it ain't Jeff, it's Dion, and sometimes Julie.
I'm just elated that Kenya was able to join us for this podcast. I was so excited when Alethea confirmed your presence with us. My great friend, my brother, my little brother, my cousin and him, all of that. He's all of that. I appreciate your wisdom. I appreciate your knowledge. I wish you much success for Rama Productions. Of course, I'm always here if you need me. And as well as this group, because that's what this group is about, is sharing education and resources to folks, sharing our journeys, right? That will hopefully help somebody else's journey be a little more easier. I'm with Dion. Coming to these weekly shows is a highlight of mine. Whenever I feel like I'm gonna miss it, I feel something tugging within me. So this is my mental fitness. These folks are my mental fitness, and I appreciate them. And I appreciate Alethea being the host and doing all of the hard work behind the scenes to make this happen. So everybody that's out there listening, follow your dreams, follow your passion. Don't stop. Center yourself around like-minded people.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what we do here. And so, Ken, it has been an honor to have you on the show tonight and learn more about your projects and what you're doing and in your company. Make sure that all the information that you gave when I post on Facebook, I'll tag your pages.
Thank
so
you.
people will be able to get to you a little easier. And so back to what Julie said, this is a little family. We pride ourselves in that. We welcome everyone that does come to the show, because when you walk away, you are family. We try to actually keep everything as real as possible, not scripted. Everyone speaks from the mind, speaks from the heart, and people relate to that. And so I'm glad that you were able to make it here. I hope you enjoyed us as much as we enjoyed you. But there are a couple of shows that we did discuss throughout the show.
I'll be happy to.
Yeah, and Julie got the notes. Julie always keeps notes.
Administration is her gift.
Exactly. So again, thank you. We really enjoyed the show. We hope everyone else enjoyed this. It's been very enlightening. And Ken is doing some very great things. And I'm sure those topics will touch with just about anyone that's out there right now. And so we will make sure that you have this information, and we will be back again next week. at 7 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Uncle Sam, have you seen my PPP?